See Joe from Kentucky, who may have hopped on and joined. But Joe, if you get a second, go down to your toolbar where you see the chat bubble and type in your name and your age.
She's 52.
It's so great to see everybody. I see so many familiar faces. It's just so awesome. And Mila in Pasadena, day sister. Okay, you guys, I'm gonna just dive right in. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining. This is our first conversations, and hopefully it's not going to be our last. We're doing this on behalf of the LOK Wishing Tree Foundation that's co-hosting this along with Timmy Barron. This is all in honor of my daughter, Lindsey. She loved kids, she was a big dreamer, and she loved to dance, and she pursued her dream in dancing. And that is really a big part of why we're doing this today. Typically, every single June for the last 6 years, we've celebrated our partners' kids. There's a lot of static there.
Yeah, Kathy, if you can mute Joe from Kentucky.
We've always celebrated our partners' kids in a very big way in the month of June. And because of this sheltering in place that's going on, we've had to postpone our Young Artist Expo for June. And we hope it's a postpone, not a cancel. So this is really a good opportunity, we thought then, to connect and really celebrate some creativity. So let's hit the pause button for an hour and let's just think about creativity, because we all have it. We all have it in doses in one way, shape, or form. And Timmy Barron, my nephew, actor, comedian, friend of LOK, is a prime example of a bundle of creativity. He's dreamed it, he's living it, and he continues to pursue it. So Timmy, without further ado, I would like for you to just take over.
Sure. Well, hi, everybody. And those of you that are 5 and under, hi, everybody. Been working on my Mickey Mouse voice. I got a 2-year-old, so been trying to do all those. Well, just to get started, just to give you a brief background, I grew up in Kentucky. I've got 5 brothers and sisters. We have a really big family. I was really interested in music when I was a kid, started playing piano, then moved to guitar, bass, and like my dream was to be in a band, which I ended up doing at some point. But somewhere along the lines, I grew up in a church that did a lot of skits, which in my business now we call sketches. But, you know, just little scenes that are funny, that really help send a message in just a really creative way. And I did that with my family. We did it in church a lot. And that's really where my love of being on stage began. That's where that seed was planted. And so, you know, going, you know, as I was getting older, especially in high school, you know, I played in some bands. Music still is a part of my life, but I really fell in love with being on stage and competing as a solo actor and doing improv duo in high school. And then at some point, my mom encouraged me to join a 3-week intensive program called Governor School for the Arts in Kentucky. And I had no clue what it was, but my mom thought it would be really good for me, and it was. It changed my life. It was just 3 weeks of really intensive acting work. And from there, that's probably the moment, the year that I decided that this is what I want to do with my life. Around that same time, around 15 or 16, I heard about the Second City. Hey, Dad, I see my dad there. I heard about the Second City, which is in Chicago, which is where I'm in now. And so I know some of you younger kids might not know these names, but like John Belushi, Bill Murray, Steve Carell, Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, Adie Bryant, more recently, Jason Sudeikis. The list goes on and on of these incredible comedy actors that we know today. that, all filter through their training program. We're on the stages there, and that was my dream. That's where I wanted to go. So, so I knew that at about, when I was a teenager. And then I ended up going to college for theater, and I went for a couple years. Went on a scholarship, so I was very lucky to go in, audition. They've got scholarships where you can audition, and based on your talent, you can go to college for way cheaper. But you also have to keep your grades up when you do that. I was not good at that. So, encourage these kids too. Like, you can take advantage of everything that you're doing by really focusing on the things that you might not necessarily want to focus on, but will help and improve your life, like schoolwork and things like that. But about halfway through college, I had an advisor that recommended that I start going into professional theater. So I auditioned for the professional theater in Memphis and began working with them. And then around that time, I had a friend from high school ask me to join his band in Nashville. So I took a break from theater and acting for a couple years to travel around in a band. And then ultimately after that, I just chased my dream and moved to Chicago. And I got into the conservatory program at the Second City. And then from there, they asked me to audition for their cast that goes on cruise ships. So I did 2 contracts on a cruise ship, which was super fun, doing a lot of improv games that we're going to talk about today. Like a lot of good family-friendly improv games that some of you might know that are fun. So I'll teach you some of those. That'll be really fun to play with the family at home, just to work that muscle that improv requires. But above all, I'm an actor, and that is what I love. And improv is such a great tool. I hear from casting directors all the time how much improv is such an asset. And I've been able to book a lot of jobs. More recently, the most recent big job I did a co-star on Chicago Fire. I've just shot a couple independent films that I've been in, won some awards for those. But what I also want to mention too, I started at a very young age, but my wife right now, same age as I am, 33, she has always wanted to act. She's always had a love for it and did not grow up with the means that I had and the support of my whole big family. She grew up with a single mother who's doing her best for my wife. My wife just didn't have those opportunities. And about a year and a half ago, she really decided she wanted to go and do it. And a year and a half later, we're both in this film that just shot together. She's booked a few commercials and voiceover. So, even for those of you that might be a little bit older, you've always wanted to do it. You don't have to start or know that you wanted to do it at a very young age. But those of you that are young, because I know a lot of you on here are, as a matter of fact, I know there's a 10-year-old who's 10 today, Carly. I just want to give you a shout out real quick. Happy birthday to you. We're going to all give her a round of applause. I did want to sing you my favorite birthday song real quick that goes like this, and it's just for you, Carly. It goes, "This is the birthday song. It isn't very long. Hey!" So happy birthday, Carly. But yeah, those of you, and especially the parents and grandparents that are here with their kids, seeing these talents or nurturing those talents. I see Gunnar. Hey, what's up, Gunnar? My nephew, Gunnar. Nurturing those talents, that's a huge step. And even if, I don't know, just the arts and creativity, that's what I love so much about LOK is just giving these kids an outlet to do this, because it can, even actors that I know that aren't acting anymore that love the theater, that love just the whole performing arts aspect. There are other jobs that revolve around it that's not necessarily performing. You can still be in love with it and be creative through it. And even some of my actor friends that aren't acting anymore or not even in the performing arts businesses excel at the regular jobs or the normal jobs. They excel in it because of their background in acting and being able to public speak and being able to truly listen and engage and be collaborative. It is just so beneficial in all areas of life, no matter what you decide to do. So, and that's one of the biggest reasons I love LOK. And
we love you too.
yeah.
You know that, Timmy. We are really, really appreciative of that. And just to let some people know the way that this actually transpired, as Dot said, we're unable to have our Young Artist Expo, which we traditionally have the first Friday in June at the Lubeznik Center for the Arts. We're hoping that we can postpone it toward the end of the year. But, you know, we are kind of being pretty meta right now. We had to improv. You know, how can we celebrate young artists if we can't be with them to do portfolio reviews? That's what Hannah from Lubeznik typically is doing right now. Mm. She's, you know, looking at those portfolios and getting those. And we have, you know, dance people that are practicing with dance. I think we've got Larry Brewer on here with South Shore Dance Alliance. So when they can't get together and do this, we thought, let's have improv. Let's get us together online. And Timmy has been our MC for several of the past years. So if anybody has come to that event, you very likely have seen Timmy and have enjoyed his, you know, comedic MC prowess, which is just amazing. So Timmy, I think it would be great if we could get into one of those games. Before we start, I just want to encourage people, if they've joined late, because I have been admitting people, you know, since we did our general welcome, to just go ahead and type your name, where you're from, and your age. I guess if you're young, or if you're just proud to be. I am 53. I'll just say I'm 53. I'm, you know, whatever. I don't care. But you know, mostly for kids, if you want to type that in and say where you're from. If you got multiple people coming in from one location, maybe tell us who's all there. And if you have a question for Timmy, you can type it into the chat. We're also going to reserve some time at the end that we can unmute you and you could ask him some questions directly. But if you're shy or you just want to make sure that your question gets answered, you can go ahead and put it in chat. So back to you, Timmy. You want to get us started with one of those games?
Yeah, sure. I have a link. One of my good buddies, I currently work at Second City as a teacher online. So I teach on-camera acting for teenagers, stand-up comedy for teenagers, and then I've written a curriculum for producing your one-person show, which would probably be down the line for people who've been in it for a while. And I also do one-on-one coaching as well. And my good buddy who I work with, who's actually my boss at Second City, wrote a great blog about some of the improv games that we play that's very helpful. And right now I'm going to post a link to that in the chat so you'll have access to it afterwards, because these are some of the games we're going to talk about. But before we jump to the games, I just want to say improv is all about being able to listen to the person that you're talking with or interacting with and being open to collaborate. I think too often the mistake that people make when they start improv is trying to be funny. The trying to be funny ironically makes you not that funny. You know, when people are trying to be funny, oftentimes it just is not happening. The trick to being funny or comedic timing is grounding yourself in truth, the truth of the situation, of the scene, or what's happening. So I just wanted to start out with that. Like, the muscles that these games work with is trying to keep you present in the moment and with your partner or your family or whoever is playing this kind of game. So the whole concept of improv is yes and, which means I would say something and then my scene partner, so say me and Carly are doing a scene right now. If I were to say something or pick an object, she would yes and it by saying the word yes and adding to it. So one easy game, which is called yes and, is very simple. So if you're playing this with your family, or say I'm playing it with Dot. Dot, if you want to unmute yourself, we could play this game right now.
I'm unmuted.
All right, so the way the games work is we'll have somebody, so anybody, if you want to put it in the chat, pick an object. It could be any object, from a guitar pick to a pen to a toothbrush, any object. And the first player will say something about that object. And so, Dot, if I'm playing with you, after I say something about the object, you will say yes and add to it. So, for example, if the object is a shoe, somebody says a shoe, and I'm playing with, see, my dad is on this chat too. So I'm playing, Dot's playing, and my dad's playing. The way you can play this game is the first thing I can say is a shoe is supportive, right? It supports your feet. So I just say the simple phrase, a shoe is supportive. And then Dot might come in and say yes, and stinky if Bill wears it. My dad's name is Bill. So a shoe is supportive. She would say yes, and it's stinky when Bill wears it. And then my dad might jump in and say yes, and you're grounded. Which in that case, he would be out because it has nothing to do with what we're talking about. He's just like, well, stinky feet. So I hope that makes sense. So
we are getting some recommendations coming in through. Are you open to input from the crowd?
Oh, 100%. Send your recommendations. Okay. We got one from
a cow. Diane would like a cow to be incorporated, and iPad 78, we don't know their name, would like a bag of chips.
A bag of chips. So we got a cow and a bag of chips. So whenever we play these games on stage, I typically will take the first one I hear, unless it's inappropriate. And then we just go from there. So, Dot, if you want to play this game with me, I'm going to start with a bag of chips, and then I'm going to say something about it. You yes and add something to it. So your whole thing is you say yes and an additional thing. And we keep going until one of us can't do it.
Got it.
All right. And then
you have the advantage,
Oh, I definitely do. But the whole goal is, first of all, don't try to be funny. Try to do the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
Those are the goals here. You want to be quick and just kind of, when you're thinking so much about being funny, the game gets derailed. It gets slow, then you're out. So a bag of chips sounds delicious.
Yes, and they only fill half the bag.
Yes, and they're salty.
Yes, and I'm addicted to them.
Yes, and then that took way too long. So I would be out of the game. And I think even when I said yes, it was salty, it was not really, just as an example, it was not really yes-anding what Dot said about them being half empty. I could have yes and that always makes me upset. That would actually be yes-anding what she said rather than going back to what chips are. I hope that makes sense.
Okay. Let's try it. Let's try another one and see if we can do it.
Are you looking for more volunteers to play with you, Timmy?
Yeah, if anybody wants to volunteer, you can raise your hands.
What about the birthday girl?
Carly, you want to play with me?
Want to try it? Carly, would you like to try it? Let me unmute Carly.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, look at her.
See how she feels about that. Let's see. Hopefully, here we go. Did I get Carly? Can you?
Yeah.
Are you willing? Will you give it a go?
Sure.
Okay, cool.
Well, then I'm going to take a cow, right? So I'll say cow, then you'll yes and on what I just said, and we'll keep going back and forth. Dot, do you want to play in this round too?
Sure.
Okay, cool. Well, then I'll go first. Carly, you can go second.
Well, wait a minute. Unless somebody else in the crowd wants to do it. I had a shot. Somebody else want to do it? Do a hand?
Now we have some more games too that we can include some more people.
Okay. Well, then I'll do this one with Carly. The birthday girl.
Yeah, birthday girl. Woo-hoo. All right, so we'll do a cow. A cow produces milk.
Yes, and it's delicious.
Yes, and I love it with cookies.
Yes, and cookies are... I'm out already. I was trying to think, the pressure's on me to be funny, and that derailed me. Let's try it again. Because you all did it perfectly, and I derailed it trying to be funny. Let's see.
There's a cheese grater.
Yeah. So Dot, why don't you start? Then I'll go, and then Carly, you'll go after me. We'll just go around like that.
We're using cheese grater.
Yeah. Let's use cheese grater.
Do you know what it is?
True story. A cheese grater just cut my thumb.
Yes. And
Yes,
I was.
oh,
Yes,
you do.
And yes, and it drew blood.
Yes, and I bet that really hurt.
Me?
Yes.
Yes, and I went through a whole box of Band-Aids.
Yes, and I didn't call the doctor.
Yes, and
But that's how that works. And the more you do it, the more you can get the idea, and it's super fun. Because Carly, in that situation, could have been like, yes, and now it's infected. Yes, and now it's got to be amputated. Yes, and, it could keep going. The whole idea is to yes and what that person just said. So that's one game that I love. That's really fun. And Kathy, be sure to cut me off when we're running out of time. But I definitely want to.
You're doing great. We're
yeah.
right on track.
Here, another game. Now, this is one that you all might be familiar with, but this does the same thing. And I want some volunteers with this, too. We can have several different people play on this one. But this is called a one-word story. So basically, everybody in a row, like if we were doing it on stage, I'd be standing with my cast members in a row. And we would start a story. I would take with this, you don't even need a suggestion. You start with one word, and each person just adds to the story with one word. And you would be out of the game if it doesn't make sense, or if the sentence just didn't make sense. So say three of us are playing. It's like once upon a time, someone ran into a fence. That person, and then, if somebody gets off or it doesn't make sense, then the game would be over. And it's also fun if you have like a big family to have somebody transcribe what's happening, because that story is golden. Bring it back too. So if we got any volunteers that want to play this game,
I am going to nominate a couple people.
Great.
In case they don't want to play. They don't have a choice.
Mila has a hand up.
Okay, Mila, you're playing?
Mila is 11 from Pasadena, I believe, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And what about Sloane? Would Sloane want to play?
Paige, let's see. Can I unmute you, or are you here? Let me unmute.
Carly, are you down to play this game too?
I think we're unmuted.
You are. You are
Yeah.
now.
I'll
Okay.
play.
Can you see Sloan?
I'll play.
Cool. We got players. Timmy.
Gunnar, I see you there. You want to play?
You have to think of a word.
Cool. Gunnar, unmute.
Yes.
So,
Vanessa, do you want to play?
How many do we need, Timmy?
just however many. We got 4 right now. Kathy, you can play this game too.
All right,
The more you have, the funner it is.
Cool.
But right now I've got
How about Paige and Vanessa? You guys want to play too?
Sure.
great.
Vanessa, no. Lisa.
All right, so here's what we're gonna do.
Lisa's down. Okay.
I've written down our players. I'm gonna put it in the chat. If your chat is up, this is the order that we're gonna go in. Okay. So we got Mila, Timmy, Carly, Gunnar, Paige, Vanessa,
And can we add Christopher as well?
and then Christopher.
Yep. I just-
No, Vanessa, cancel Vanessa and put in Larry instead.
Okay, well, we've got too many cooks in the kitchen, I think.
All right, here we go. So Larry, unmute yourself. So I'm putting in the new list.
Am I unmuted now?
You are.
Yep.
So
And
take a
we
look at
can
this
add
list.
more people to another game, right, Timmy?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We got 2 more games, but this is a fun one as well. I just want to show you all how it works. So remember who you are after. because this could go on for a second. So Mila, then Timmy, Carly, you're after me. Gunner, you're after Carly.
Got it.
Paige is after Gunner. Larry, you're after Paige. And then Christopher, you're after Larry, which means
right.
Mila, you're going to be after Christopher.
Right.
Okay, so,
Okay.
Yeah.
so if you're playing, unmute right now. And
Okay.
again, the trick here, don't be funny. Just say a word that makes sense with the word you just heard.
You play?
And Mila, if everybody's ready, Mila, whenever you're ready, let's give it a test go and see how it goes.
Okay.
Once.
Upon,
A.
Time.
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 so Paige, that would be you.
There.
Was.
Christopher.
A.
Man.
Wait, is it my turn?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mila.
That
Was,
Carly.
Ruby.
Spade. Lived.
all right, let's try it one more time, okay? I messed that up. I would have been out of the game. Said jump. So let's try it again. And so Mila, go ahead and get started. Let's do it one more time.
I
Love,
Cheese.
and
Tequila.
Tequila.
Broggle.
With.
With fruit.
And
snacks.
Carly.
I didn't hear the first couple words. It glitched out.
Okay.
It's all right.
Tick.
Yeah. So in this case too, it was a little confusing as well because I love cheese and tequila with
grapefruit.
and snacks. So that's almost like a whole sentence. So at that point, Carly, you can begin a new sentence if that makes sense. Okay. So let's do it one more time. Just one more go through before we move on to the next one. But that's perfect. That's exactly what needs to happen. Hey, put down the tequila so you can jump on it. Okay.
Sorry, I forgot this is a kid-friendly show.
No. What I mean is you're taking too long.
Oh.
All right. So Mila, whenever you're ready, let's try this and let's see how far we can go.
Today
Was.
My.
birthday.
So.
I.
Was.
Very.
Excited.
So I was hungry.
While.
We.
Were.
Eating.
Hey.
That makes no sense.
It does.
Hamburger.
And
Fry.
after. Oh.
All right, cool. I'm gonna stop it right there. So today was, if I remember it correctly, today is my birthday, and I am excited while we wait to eat birthday cake, to eat cake hamburger. I think that's about where we got to. It's a little weird playing it on the Zoom. But that's the idea of that game. It's super fun, especially if you're in a car ride or if you all are quarantined, which we could all be. It's such a fun game to play, and you do it until it doesn't make sense. And you could do it where, you keep eliminating players if they mess up.
Cowboy.
Wrong.
Cowboy.
But yeah, any questions on that game?
Yeah.
Thank you to all the volunteers. I'll go ahead and mute for now. Is that okay, Timmy? And we'll
Yes,
recruit
please.
another round. Okay.
We're going to mute for now. So those are the two that are the ones that really just try to get you to stop thinking about being funny, be in the moment, add to what is happening, and everybody is collaborating together. The other two I'm going to explain just a little bit. They're super fun to do, but it takes a little bit more skill and it just takes a little bit more practice to get with these games. And again, I'll share it with you, Kathy, so you can send it out to everybody. This link to these games. But this one is called 1001 Mermaids Go Into a Juice Bar. So this one is super fun because the idea here is you're telling a one punchline joke. And so I'm going to ask for some suggestions in just a second. But this is basically tries to get you to think in context of what the suggestion is to say a one-line joke. So the way it works is I would get a suggestion of anything at all, person, an object, just like we did before. And so, for example, if someone gave me the suggestion of pencil, all right, I would say 1001 pencils go into a juice bar. The juice bartender says, "We don't serve your kind here." The pencils ask why. And the juice bartender says, "Because last time you came in here, you all did a number 2. So that's a joke based on pencils, the number 2 pencil, right? So the whole thing is 101 blanks walk into a juice bar. The bartender says, "We don't serve your kind." The pencils say why, and the juice bartender gives them the reason. And that reason, there's a joke in there having to do with the suggestion. So right now, I'm going to do this a couple times with you all. I need some suggestions of anything at all, an object.
So we can have suggestions through chat would probably be the easiest.
Yep.
If
Chat me
anybody
some,
wants
and
to
as they
put
come
in
up, I'll
computer.
do it. Okay, so I'm going to do one right now. Keep those suggestions coming. But here's how it goes. 1001 computers walk into a bar, a juice bar. The bartender says, "We don't serve your kind." The computers say why. And the bartender says, "Because last time you came in, you created a jam." Ram. I meant to say
Ram jam.
a ram jam. So let's do another one. Dogs. Because that one was
How about lemurs? Lemurs would be fun. Can you do lemurs?
lemurs. Is a lemur, what is a lemur? Is it like a type of monkey?
I don't even know. Okay. Well, yeah, let's go with something.
It is a
everybody
type of
knows.
monkey?
Yeah. I'm not sure, but
Okay.
Elmo.
Well, let's just say they are. 1001 lemurs walk into a juice bar. The bartender says, "We don't serve your kind." The lemurs say why. The bartender says, "Last time you came in, you took all the bananas."
solid.
Some are hits, some are misses. Dogs. Or whisk. I like whisk. 1001 whisks walk into a juice bar. The bartender says, "We don't serve your kind." The whisk said, "Why not?" The bartender said, "Because last time you came in, I asked you to leave and you didn't beat it."
Oh, that's a good one. I see what you did there.
You see. So it's all about, and this one is really helpful because it helps you associate, being creative with what you were given to put it in this phrase. So let's see, I'll do two more. Elephant. 1001 elephants walk into a juice bar. The juice bartender says, "We don't serve your kind." The elephant said, "Why not?" The bartender said, "Because..." It's got to be appropriate. "Because last time you came in, I had to empty the trunk."
Ah, good one.
I'm a little rusty on this too, so I should actually play this game.
Is it harder than it looks? And do you think we might have any volunteer that would like to give that a try? Or
does anybody want to give it a try? Raise your hand if you want to.
Christopher said he thought the game was weird. So I'm
It is
wondering
weird.
if that means weird in a good way, that you're dying to try it, Christopher. If so, you're already unmuted, it looks like. Are you
Christopher, if you want to try it, I'll give you a suggestion.
Why not?
Cool. Your suggestion is iPhone.
Okay. Okay, so I walk into the Apple store for a new iPhone, but the employee at the Apple store couldn't find the iPhone because the iPhone didn't even exist.
Okay.
We're mixing games, aren't we?
Well, so Christopher, here's how it works. You have to say 1,001 iPhones walk into a bar.
Okay.
The juice bar. The bartender says, "We don't serve your kind."
Okay.
The iPhone said, "Why?" The bartender said, "Because we're out of apples."
Okay. Okay, let me try that again.
Right? So it's that same phrase, and I can write it down too.
Could you give him the setup and just let him deliver his last part? Or do you think there's something really integral about being in it the whole way through?
Yeah, it helps being in it the whole way. But again, this one takes some practice. Here's what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to, so you can read it yourself, Chris, because it's the same format every time, right? I'm putting it in the chat so you can take a look at it. So you're going to, so you've got these blanks here. So if someone said mermaids, 1,001 mermaids go into a juice bar. The juice bartender says, "We don't serve your kind here." The mermaids ask why. The juice bartender says, "Because you all smell filet-o-fishy." Which, that's the thing. So what you want to do is take that suggestion, and your punchline is going to refer to that.
And you know what? Christopher might just be on the phone. Is that right, Christopher?
Actually, I just switched to my computer now.
Oh, you did? Okay. Okay. So if you can see the chat, that would be easy. If you can't, that would be a little tricky. So, and don't feel pressured, you know, quite honestly, we don't want to make anybody stress out over this. It's supposed to be fun.
All right. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm just a little shy.
No, you're good. You're good, man. And again, it's all about, another huge thing about improv is the freedom to fail. Is following the fear, following that. Like, you have to, and in life as well, you have to try this stuff out, especially if you want to do it, with the expectation that you will fail over and over and over and over. I've done it several times already playing this game myself.
Just like math.
Yeah. Mila, do you
Can I do it?
Yeah, let's let Christopher give it one more shot, and then Mila, well, I'll give you one as well. Cool. So Christopher, your prompt is, I'll pick one from here, King Kong.
Okay. King Kong walked into a juice bar and asked for a specific item. The people at the juice bar didn't say that we don't have that item. It's because we ran out of bananas.
Yeah, I mean, that could work. But if you go into, I'm going to post it one more time. If you go into a chat,
I have my own.
The same exact format. Mila, why don't you give it a shot?
I have my own. Can I tell?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So there's 1,001 succulents, and they go into a juice bar, and the juice bartender says, "We don't serve your kind here." The succulents say, "Why?" And the bartender says, "Y'all suck."
That's
Okay.
We have a winner.
Okay, I might want to try one more time with these iPhones.
Yeah, but let's try it one more time. And again, you want to keep the exact phrasing that I just posted in the chat. Just
Okay.
fill in the blanks, okay?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, 1,001 iPhones go into a juice bar, and the juice bartender says, "We don't serve your kind here." The iPhone asks why, and the juice bartender says, "Because we ran out of apples."
Yeah, that's exactly how it works.
Classic.
I go with
1001 iPhones walking in the bar. Bartender's like, no, we don't serve your kind here. They said, why? It's like, because you charge too much.
I see one of my buddies are here.
Cool.
Very
Does anybody
cool.
else want to give it a try before we move to the next one?
I'll like give it a try.
And Timmy,
Aaron?
I do want to make sure that we just
Yeah,
reserve
my
a
friend Aaron
little.
here.
All right, hold on. We're going to mute everybody real quick. Hold on, everybody. Let's mute everybody. Kathy, what do you want to say?
Well, I just want to make sure we reserve a little time at the end for just open questions and things like that. I think this is so valuable. And I think, you know, the link that you gave us to will let people explore even more games they can do. But what I'd like to, you know, do, and you've done a good job of this as we go, is remind people how this is relevant to your daily life, whether you decide to go into comedy or acting ever. Don't you think that this would help you be more resilient when you're in a time of, you know, crisis, or just things are a little crazy, things are a little perhaps upsetting, or just we're in unknown territory? Would you agree with me?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, not only, you know, it's an escape from the worry that we can be consumed with that does not allow us to be in the present with each other. And games like this specifically force you to engage, to use your brain and use that side of the brain that's creative. And so apart from doing a puzzle, which is also great, or playing a board game, these type of games help to work that muscle of creativity and collaboration and listening to each other. So, I mean, that's it right there, I would say. Like, that's the main thing with this. And with Aaron and Christopher too, or anybody here that didn't get a chance to play this game, take this game, get some suggestions from Facebook or your friends, or text each other or FaceTime, and play this game with them. You know, because we are running out of time. This is a great game to play with each other.
Thank you. I mean, this, I think, has been great. And I'm just so amazed that, like, Mila, you just stepped right up and had one. And Christopher, I'm just as impressed with you that you came back and tried it 3 times, admitting that you're a little shy, and you got it, you know? So I think Dot was right. We absolutely all do have some creativity, and this stuff takes practice, right? We have Larry Brewer on here that works with our young dancers, and they certainly don't just come out and dance perfectly the first time. It takes some failure. So I love what you said about, what did you say about failure again?
You have the freedom to fail.
Freedom to fail.
You know, to me, the ultimate failure is just giving up completely. You know, not saying that you keep doing this, and, you know, people decide to change their paths and change what they're doing, but ultimate failure is not even trying at all with something that you want to try.
And I would like to just chime in on that for a second. We have Hannah, the educational director of Lebesnick Center. We have the executive director of the Lebesnick Center with us, Janet Block. We have Larry Brewer, the executive director of the South Shore Dance Alliance. All these directors, these incredible people that really work with all of these kids, the encouragement, the fostering of this creativity, and all of you kids that are on this call, we just want you to know that we celebrate the abilities that you have, and take those opportunities, you know. And this is something that Kathy and I will bring up, and Timmy as well, in just a minute. If you want to see this continue, maybe we could do one a month. We can talk about anything you want to talk about. We can talk about dancing. We can talk about choreography. We can talk about the performing arts. I just wanted to throw that in, but we celebrate all of you kids,
Absolutely.
and the directors and the teachers. They're pretty incredible. Go ahead.
And just, you know, we want to open it up. If people have some burning questions that you'd like us to unmute you, and you can ask Timmy. We kind of hope this can be an exploration where the walls come down, and young budding artists or curious, you know, people about any of the different arts that we bring on could have that direct opportunity that you might not otherwise have. So you can either type it in chat, or just, you know, put your hand up, unmute yourself, however you'd like to do it. But we probably have about 5 minutes for that. And then, Timmy, I know you want to save a little time, or you could even say it now. you have kind of an offer, or Larry's got a hand up.
Oh, I'm reading.
Oh, you're just reading. Okay. Oh,
But you know what I was gonna. Okay.
okay. Paige, did you have a question? Do you have a hand up? Okay. Well,
Wait. Hello?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to chime in on is, for us, improv actually gives you the ability to think on your feet. Being shy a lot of times hold people back from taking part in things, taking part in things. But when you practice improv games, and we do it all the time in dance, it helps you release, to be able to be yourself and to not worry about making mistakes. And I think that's what holds people back most of the time, the fear of making a mistake.
For me, for a perfect example.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. 100%.
Absolutely. Paige has got Paige
Hi,
Sloane?
Paige. Sloane is right here next to me.
Hey,
working
Sloane.
on she's working on sand art.
Nice.
Cool.
But she's present. She's listening in her 5-year-old self. Hey, Timmy, my question for you is, I'm curious, like Second City, I've sat in the audience and watched them do improv and just kind of bounce in between the actors, just playing off of each other. And I know that you've, been training for that, but where do you go in your head when you are with other actors? Like, how do you stay fearless going up on stage, or just, when you're with a group of other actors or just other game players like us? Like, where do you go in your head to kind of be fearless and keep that flow, that creative flow going, and be unfiltered and unedited,
Yeah, I mean,
while trying not to be funny, but hilarious at the same time.
Right. That's a great question. And oftentimes when we do this in improv, when it's not like a short form game like we're doing here, it's an actual scene. That probably is what you're talking about when you see actors do a scene. It's about being grounded in the character. So it's not about necessarily being fearless. It's about following the fear, acknowledging that it's there and jumping into it, rather than, like trying to act like it's not there. You got to acknowledge that that's there and just jump, which is probably the hardest thing to do. So when I go on stage, or when I have an improv scene that is actually successful, which, so many are not as well. That's the thing about improv. Some of my friends are way better improvisers than I am. I have those occasional, especially when I'm doing it a lot, have those occasional nights where I was like, wow, that was amazing. People were laughing their heads off. And it's crazy because the ones that are so funny are the ones that I'm surprised by it. Like, why was that so funny? Like, I was not trying to be funny at all. What I was doing in those situations was trying to be true to the character that I jumped in with. So, it doesn't have to be a crazy off the wall character. I can go in as myself, and my improvising friend immediately calls me their dad. So I have to yes and that, and all of a sudden, okay, I am now their dad, and I'm going to talk to them like they're my kid. And then as you go through and take your time with this, things, hopefully you got a great partner that's giving you gifts. The same with them, where you just kind of drop some things in your conversation that help it go somewhere. Like, what is the situation that's actually happening? Are they walking home late? So rather than asking questions, for example, someone comes in, they go, "Oh, Dad, you're awake." That's the first line they give me. That is a huge gift, because immediately I know I'm their dad, and it's late. I should be sleeping. So they walk in, and they should have been home already. And I can just go from there about what, trusting each other to allow that scene to come about. And you know, that's the thing about having a great partner. And again, it takes a ton of practice to do that, because, you know, for a long time I was trying to be funny and it was hurting what I was doing on stage. And even still now, like it happens. I fail all the time. You know, I love improv, but, you know, like I said, I am not the best improviser in this city by any means. I love it as a tool for my acting in all the other areas that I go. But yeah, it's being brave enough and having that courage to jump out there and not know what's going to happen, and following that and taking that risk, knowing that chances are I'm going to fail, or it's not going to be funny, or people are going to be like, what just happened? But the more you do it, the more you have very successful scenes. And those scenes can ultimately be written into a full-out sketch that you can do over and over and over throughout the night. Like, and that's what I use improv the most, is generate material and actual pieces that are written down. And
That sounds like life advice.
yeah,
You know, entrepreneurially, kids doing sport, everything, like everything. Just follow your fear right down the rabbit hole, and hopefully it'll be like Alice in Wonderland. I don't know.
Yes, yeah.
That's awesome.
Speaking of Alice in Wonderland, I feel like we have gone down a really cool rabbit hole, and the time, you know, has flown. I can't believe it's almost an hour already, and we don't want to part ways before sharing some ways that people can follow Timmy. So Timmy, if you want to do a website shout out, and just also know that anybody who registered for this event on Eventbrite, I'll do a follow-up email and we'll include those links, and you'll also get a link to this recording. So if there's somebody that you know that you think would enjoy this, feel free to share the recording with them and tell them to come sign up for the LOK list and follow us on Facebook to get notifications of future events like this. But Timmy, and do you have anything else that you would like to say? And,
for anybody, I was about to message Chris individually because he was asking me some questions. Yeah, I like I said, I teach classes through the Second City, and they're all online. Even before the pandemic, I was teaching online classes. So all the classes that I teach, as well as one-on-one coaching, with acting, comedy, marketing yourself on social media, those are my fortes. And so I offer that. So my website is, I'm putting it in the chat right now, www.timmyhartbarron.com. And then I'll also give you my social media handle, which is @timmyhartbarron. So you can follow me. I think that's the same for Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm the most active on Instagram. I do a lot of content on there. But yeah, those are, if you want to get in touch with me at all or ask me questions, anybody involved in this right here, feel free to hit me up at all with any questions that you have. Yeah, the website, if you wanted to do some coaching, you know, everybody on this call, everybody, I'm giving, you know, I offer you free 30 minutes just to talk, see what your goals are, what you want, and then we can go from there.
That's incredibly generous. I know you said sometimes if people put together a video reel or submission, sometimes that can help you assess, you know, maybe where they are or their interest or that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, like with the on-camera class that I do, we talk about all the aspects of actually what is it like auditioning for casting directors, what is it like in the real world of the business. And so with that curriculum specifically, you know, we'll have you, give you some time to put yourself on tape, on camera. We'll show you how to do it with what you have. So we all have it right here. Like we all have it. And there's some casting directors that like it raw. There's some that want a little bit better lighting. Like my lighting probably looks really good right now, all because I'm at a window. So I've got natural light, no lights in the back. So, you know, just simple things like that, that it looks nice. You can see my face, like little things like that. And then, yeah, of course, we'll have you record yourself, and I'll give you feedback and notes.
Well, thank you again. This has just been a really enjoyable hour. This is my favorite Zoom meeting I've been on all year by far. So, Dot, would you like to say any closing remarks?
Well, I would like to thank everybody for taking the hour to be a part of this. And I really do think this is a format that could really have some legs going forward. And if you would like to see this continue, one Zoom a month, we're going to play around with some of those suggestions and have further conversations about it. Timmy, again, has been a longtime friend of LOK, and we're so grateful and thankful at everything that he does for our foundation. I have a question for Carly, the birthday girl. Carly, what are you going to do for the rest of your birthday? And you also put in the comment section, the chat section, that you actually saw that one game that Timmy was playing actually performed at Disney. Is that right?
Yeah.
Which one?
Grandma saw it.
Well, yeah, but
The
Okay.
101. In fact, it's on YouTube and it's hysterical.
Yeah, it's when that goes well, it goes really well.
Donna Flanagan, didn't you just dress up? You did a parade by Carly's home for her birthday, and you were dressed up as the what?
Very glad mother.
Glad mother.
Glad mother. Yes. Yeah, we did that this morning. It went really well.
it was freezing outside though.
Oh, you'll have to post a photo, will you? Will you attach it to the LOK page?
Sure.
Here, I'll show you one right now, but I'll post it.
Hold
I
on.
would love to see it.
What
And I
are
would
the-
also like to thank the executive directors, the partners that we work very closely with throughout the year, because they, the time that they spend with all the kids in the after school programming is amazing. Let's see that photo.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's the big sign, and then there's my mom.
Oh, that's great. What a fun way to celebrate. Well, any other questions you guys have, throw it in the chat section. We thank you for your time, and have a great rest of the afternoon. Kathy, Timmy. Oh, Kathy mentioned the scholarships.
I think we did. Timmy mentioned very generously that he was willing to extend that to everyone.
Yeah, everybody on this call for sure. It's on my website anyway. So like,
Hey,
you know,
I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
yeah, anybody that would like a 30-minute session for any coaching in this area, I'm very happy to do that.
Very nice.
Christopher, LOK, I see that Kathy typed it out there. It stands for Lindsey O'Brien Kesling. And she is my daughter, and she is the one that is the namesake of the foundation. She was a young dreamer. She died at the age of 22, and all that information is on the foundation.
Sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, thanks, Christopher. Appreciate that. I would love for you to go to the website and read a little bit more about her.
We'll do.
That's
Thank
also
you.
in chat. And a couple of people have asked, where will the recording be posted? I will be sending out an email to everybody who registered via Zoom, and we'll also post it to our Facebook. So if you're not following us on Facebook yet, please do follow us there, and it should be posted by tomorrow. It does take a little time to process the video. But that is about all we have time for right now. I just want to say thank you, Janet.
I just want to thank Timmy. It was really fun. Those games were great, and thank you to everybody. But I just wanted to also make sure that everyone knows that we also have been posting all these activities on our website for artists. And I'm sorry that I turned off Zoom when people come in my office to ask for something. So just not to be rude, but I wanted to just let people know, and if there's any way we can share some of the games with people, I think people would really, our audience is your audience in many ways, and I think they'd really appreciate it. It was super fun.
I sent a link to Kathy to include in the email, and I put it on the chat here as well. And for all the adults, there are adult versions of those games that are super fun. So go to my website. I'll show you those. And
I'm going to list our website in case people also, any of the kids or adults like art or dance. We have videos teaching kids both. So it's, you know, it's good if you're getting bored during these days. I'm sure the parents aren't. The kids might need a break.
You definitely have some great things, and we'll be sharing those to our Facebook page as well.
Okay.
Now that we've got this one behind us and we don't yet know what our next monthly one will be, we definitely want to amplify your signal. Well, thank you again. We know you have a lot of ways you can spend your time, but we're really grateful and appreciative that you spent an hour with us and with Timmy. That was just a really generous gift, and a gift that keeps on giving. If some of the people on this call decide that they want to take him up on that coaching offer, I think that's a really fabulous offer. So thank you again. And that is all we have time for right now. Be safe, everybody. Be well, and thank you.
Au revoir.
Bye.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, Carly.